Happening now, local lawmakers want accountability in Governor Cuomo's nursing home handlings. Details coming up. Plus, at least one local nursing home company is trying to expand visitation for its residents and families following their COVID-19 vaccination efforts.
Well, clouds are the story out there this afternoon, but we are keeping our eyes on a winter storm for the weekend. How much snow? We'll tell you about it next. The news at noon starts right now.
Live and on demand, this is WNY News Now.
And thanks for joining us for WNY News Now on this Friday. I'm Justin Gould. Saying Governor Andrew Cuomo intentionally covered up the truth about COVID-19 related deaths in nursing homes, two local lawmakers are taking the governor to task and want him to be held accountable. State Senator George Borrello and Assemblyman Andy Goodell tell us this morning that Cuomo played politics with people's lives after it was revealed the top aide apologized to fellow Democrats for the cover-up. Aide Melissa DeRosas apologized for the actions in the cover-up, explaining to Democrats that the state feared a federal investigation and political blowback if the true numbers were depressed accurately. Senator Borrello says the apology was heartless and politically motivated. He's calling for a federal Department of Justice investigation into the nursing home fiasco and subsequent cover-up.
This is clear evidence that there needs to be an investigation by the federal Department of Justice. Melissa DeRosa wasn't apologizing to the families who lost loved ones. She wasn't apologizing for the non-transparency of the administration. She was apologizing to Democratic lawmakers for making their life a little bit more difficult during the campaign. So not only is this a shocking revelation, it's also cold and heartless that was the reason for the phone call.
Meanwhile, Assemblyman Goodell is also seeking action to get to the bottom of the scandal. He tells us Cuomo preferred to place politics above people's lives, especially the most vulnerable to coronavirus.
Hopefully, this will show that while Governor Cuomo was busy writing a book and getting a Grammy or Emmy from Hollywood friends, thousands of people were dying as a result of his incompetence.
Goodell says comparisons to the Watergate cover-up are not accurate because, unlike the current scandal, no one died during it. Goodell and Borrello are calling on citizens to demand a federal probe of the nursing home death situation in New York. The Cuomo administration reported about 9,000 nursing home deaths, but after State Attorney General Letitia James concluded the data was intentionally undercounted, the state raised its estimate to about 15,000 deaths. WNY News Now will continue to follow this story. Senator Borrello slated to hold a press conference coming up at 12:30. Following this broadcast, we'll have complete coverage. Well, for the second day in a row, the number of COVID-19 recoveries continues to outpace new cases here in the county. The County Health Department's COVID-19 dashboard reported 42 additional recoveries today. However, the department did announce 43 additional cases and 5 new deaths. The 7-day average percent positivity rate continued to fall from 4.4% to 3.2%. There are now 229 cases active countywide, with 27 people remaining hospitalized. To date, there have been 7,200 cases recorded since the start of the pandemic, with 68,000 recovering and 134 related deaths. Health experts say one solution to keeping the elderly safe in nursing homes is the COVID-19 vaccine. WNY News Now's Claire Galt speaking with local nursing home leaders about their effort to get residents vaccinated and now to reopen visitation.
COVID-19 vaccination efforts at Heritage Ministries facilities in Chautauqua County are now complete. That's according to the company's Chief Clinical Officer, Jeremy Rutter, who spoke with me this morning. Overall, Heritage nursing homes in the county have fared well in terms of keeping the virus at bay, something Rutter says goes back to their strict protocols.
We test all our employees twice a week at a minimum. Many of them are being tested more than that. We test all our new admissions 3 times in their first 10 days. We clean and disinfect all of our surfaces every 4 hours using electrostatic sprayers as well.
85% of residents have now been vaccinated, and Rudder wants the state to acknowledge this.
I really hope the Department of Health and the governor looks at those statistics and rewards those people for that. We need to have visitation, open visitation for our residents, and they're taking the proactive steps to get themselves vaccinated.
While visitation at nursing homes in New York State is allowed, it is only permitted outdoors, something Heritage is trying to change.
Western New York in February isn't the best place to do outdoor visitation, especially for the elderly. We're looking for indoor visitation with moderate screening and prevention protocols.
Rudder says they're advocating for the change, but have not had success in petitioning with the state. In the end, he says Heritage couldn't have fared as well as they did without the work of their staff. Claire Galt, WNY News Now.
Claire, thank you. Last fall, the New York State Health Department updated their guidance to allow some visitation as long as there were no COVID-19 infections present at the facility within 14 days. Well, in other news now, the Stockton Town Court judge has resigned while under investigation by the New York State Commission on Judicial Conduct. The resignation of Stockton Town Court Justice Mark Cunningham was announced by the Commission yesterday amid an investigation into courthouse misconduct and failing to cooperate. Cunningham left office back on January 18th and agreed that he would never seek or accept judicial office at any time in the future. The Commission initially told him in July that it was investigating him following a complaint where he allegedly engaged in inappropriate behavior within his courtroom. Later in November, the Commission added that it was investigating his failure to cooperate with that investigation over a period of 4 months, stating the judge did not respond to 4 letters of inquiry from the Commission concerning the first complaint. Cunningham served as justice in the town of Stockton Court since 2013. The Commission accepted a stipulation regarding him holding office and has since closed the probe. Well, we thank you for joining us for WNY News Now as we get a check of local headlines and a lot of big stories that have a big impact here locally. We appreciate you tuning to us for that. Good to see Linda, good to see Cindy, Keith, Jeff, Mackenzie, Joseph, and Tiffany as well. Happy Friday to all of you. Looking forward to a long weekend for some. And let's get to our First Defense weather forecast. Chief Forecaster Dakota Hunter standing by with that, and it's kind of a cloudy start out there today.
Yes, it is. It has been a very cloudy start to this Friday. I'm not a personal fan of that, but yeah, there you go. I just had to go ahead and say it, but yeah. Yes. I think she's the one who started that, I think. But anyway, the radar shows you just some lake effect snow showers coming off Lake Ontario, not impacting the southern tier, and it should remain relatively quiet and dry through the day today. We topped out at 26 degrees yesterday. 10 is where we started the day here in town. Some spots single digits and some spots below zero. Oh, man, 69 and 30 below zero were the record highs and lows for the state. We've actually rebounded slightly. 19 here in town right now, 22 Mayville, 21 Clymer, 22 Fredonia, 18 Randolph, only 11 in Delavan in the hills of Cattaraugus County, and that's going to be the cooler spot. Once again today, mostly cloudy and cold, maybe a few peaks of sunshine later this afternoon, but I think the clouds really are going to win it out for the most part. Light wind, but there will be a wind chill index when you combine it with temperatures like this. 17 on the hills, 25 at the Lake Erie shoreline. We are keeping our eyes on a winter storm for the weekend, plus it's storm after storm likely for next week. We could be dealing with ice likely this time next week. We'll talk about what we know in a few. Justin?
All right, Dakota, it seems like they just keep coming and you'll keep us updated. We appreciate it. Well, New York will now follow updated guidelines from the U.S. Centers for Disease Control and Prevention, not requiring certain people who have been vaccinated against COVID-19 to quarantine after being exposed to someone else who has the virus. The CDC recommendations apply to people who have received their second shot of a 2-dose vaccine or the first of a 1-dose vaccine. Once 2 weeks from full vaccinations have passed, those people will not be required to quarantine after COVID exposure if they experience no symptoms of the disease. That exception lasts 90 days after vaccination. The state's current rules allow people exposed to COVID-19 to end quarantine after 10 days without testing if they haven't had any symptoms. Leaders still encourage New Yorkers to continue to wear their mask and stay apart from one another, even if vaccinated. Well, today's the day the CDC is expected to release its guidance on the best way to safely reopen more schools. As Britt Conway reports, it comes in the midst of a heated debate, lawsuits, and some concerning stats on the issue.
The president will not rest until every school is open 5 days a week. That is our goal.
But how to make that happen is the question, with no one right answer, which is why there's so much angst around CDC guidance on the matter. At this point, it's been a varied approach, sometimes down to the district or even school level, and it continues to be a flashpoint issue around the country. In Wisconsin, there's a plan to divvy up federal COVID-19 aid based on a district's number of in-person school days.
It's still up to the local school board. If they feel it is unsafe to open, don't open. Would you really open for money if you thought it was that unsafe?
In California, the city of San Francisco is seeking an emergency court order to force its public schools to open for in-person instruction. In Minnesota, where schools are under executive order to follow the state's safe learning plan, there's a proposal to strip the governor of the power to change school plans during a peacetime emergency.
We at the local level have a pulse on our community values, and we represent these communities in our decision making. I do not know what the best decisions for Minneapolis public schools are, but I have a good idea what works in Stillwater.
And speaking of work, a Stanford professor warns students in the U.S. could see their lifelong earnings cut by an average of 6 to 9% unless schools are able to make up for learning losses. I'm Britt Conway reporting.
Britt, thank you. The CDC's guidance on reopening schools is expected to outline 5 key strategies: hand washing, masking, social distancing, cleaning, and ventilation, as well as contact tracing, isolation, and quarantine. Next, hear a lot more to tell you about. The state's lieutenant governor says that the federal government needs to treat COVID-19 like a hurricane or other natural disaster when considering funding the states. And later, Valentine's Day will be sweet for couples and businesses as holiday spending is likely to double. Stay with us as WNY News Now continues on this Friday.
First Defense Weather.
With coverage that matters. This is WNY News Now.
EagleZip.com is your local one-stop shop for all of your home and business computer needs. Located on Fluvan Avenue Extension, just outside of Jamestown, EagleZip.com sells and services all brands of desktops and laptops, as well as servers and network equipment for your business. All new computer sales include transferring your data from your old computer plus a 2-year warranty. Call EagleZip.com today.
Stop by EagleZip.com today and let us make computers easy for you.
Honest John's has what you're looking for. When you want it good, we're gonna give you lots more.
From freshly made subs to the best of pizza and wings, Honest John's has what you're looking for. And now 2 great locations, East 2nd Street and Fairmount Avenue. Order takeout or delivery today, online at honestjohns.pizza.
You're gonna get it good at Honest John's.
Remember when you were a kid, huddled around the television waiting for your school to close? Well, we don't get snow days. When winter weather hits, count on the First Defense Weather Team for a look into the future where the snow is headed next. Live radar showing you the scope of the storm. And real-time reports from the field. So when it matters most, stay with First Defense Weather.
Catch your First Defense forecast daily on WNY News Now. You're watching WNY News Now, your source for breaking news.
When it comes to funding New York State, the federal government needs to treat COVID-19 like a natural disaster, such as a hurricane. That's according to New York State Lieutenant Governor Kathy Hochul, who spoke during a virtual meeting in Dunkirk yesterday to discuss the state budget. Repeating the governor's call for $15 billion in federal funding for the state, Hochul explained that Washington must treat COVID like a federal disaster and cover it as if it were a hurricane. If the state doesn't get the federal support, she says a worst-case scenario will play out.
This pandemic has been devastating in terms of our budget. No other way to describe it. First of all, the enormous loss in revenues, sales tax revenues. Every source of revenues that we had coming in took a major hit. Even something like collecting throughway tolls to help cover throughway maintenance costs. I've never been a fan of tolls, everyone knows that, but they do cover the cost of maintaining our throughway. People weren't using the throughway. People weren't using our transportation corridors. I mean, there's countless ways that we lost revenues.
In addition, Hochul expressed pride at the level of coordination among governments, businesses, and labor. She called for local governments to take advantage of local assets, such as Lake Erie's waterfront, in rebuilding an economy that had great numbers last year. Well, criminal charges have been dropped against 2 officers seen on video last spring shoving a 75-year-old protester to the ground in Buffalo. A grand jury declined to indict Buffalo officers Robert McCabe and Aaron Taglowski on federal assault charges, ending a matter that drew national attention at the height of protests over the police killing of George Floyd. A news crew covering the protest in downtown Buffalo last June over Floyd's death captured video of officers shoving the man to the ground in front of City Hall as crowd control officers in riot gear cleared demonstrators from the area. After he was pushed backwards, the man started bleeding after hitting his head on the pavement and spent about a month in the hospital with a fractured skull and brain injury. In the wake of the officer's suspensions, nearly 60 members of the department's crowd control unit said they would no longer serve it, effectively shutting it down. Well, the prosecution rests. The Democrats concluded their impeachment case against former President Donald Trump yesterday. All eyes now turning to the defense, and they will look to place the blame for the Capitol attack squarely on the rioters themselves. Nadia Romero is in Washington with highlights from the trial.
Senate's adjourned.
House impeachment managers making their closing arguments against former President Donald Trump.
Exercise your common sense about what just took place in our country.
If we pretend this didn't happen, or worse, if we let it go unanswered, who's to say it won't happen again?
Prosecutors spent their final day looking at the national security implications of the deadly attack on the U.S. Capitol.
Our adversaries are even using the events of January 6th not only to denigrate America, but to justify their own anti-democratic behavior, calling America hypocritical.
And hammering home why they believe Trump incited the insurrection.
We were invited by the President of the United States!
Their own statements before, during, and after the attack make clear the attack was done for Donald Trump.
The focus will now shift to Trump's defense.
I think you'll at least be moved by what you see and get a much better picture of exactly what's going on here and the hypocrisy in some of the positions taken by the House managers in this case.
His team will present its case Friday and plan to keep it brief.
It should be as short as possible, given the complete lack of evidence and the harm that this is causing to the American people.
The numbers are on his side, with the majority of Republicans expected to vote to acquit the former president. In Washington, I'm Nadia Romero.
Nadia, thank you. Analysts point out that it may not matter how compelling either side's arguments are, since most senators appear to have already made up their minds. One Republican senator reportedly filling out a blank map of Asia during the House manager's arguments. 3 others huddled with Trump lawyers to craft a strategy. Democrats need to sway 17 Republicans to get enough votes for a conviction. Well, during times of uncertainty, it's a good idea to keep your relationships in order, and that might explain some surprising data surrounding Valentine's Day this year. Online coupon site Retail Me Not conducted a survey and found fewer people are planning to buy Valentine's Day gifts this year. Dakota doesn't like the way I say coupon. I call it coupon.
I love it.
But those who are plan to spend more than double of what they dropped last year. Experiences and fine dining aren't popular choices due to the pandemic, with lovers focusing on pretty traditional gifts like chocolate, flowers, and jewelry. And the longer you've weathered the storm, the better haul you can expect. Couples who have been married for more than 10 years plan to spend the most at $467. That's compared to just $251 last year. If you still haven't made a purchase, you're not alone. The survey shows most people don't buy anything more than a week before the holiday. Or you could also join the 39% of people in relationships who plan to stiff their significant other with nothing.
Oh!
Yeah. We can't officially recommend that, though. Let us know what you think about this and more in the comments down below.
That's cold.
Yeah. Oh, the cold shoulder. Nobody wants that. But last minute, though, that's Kim Carlson down in Lakewood at her flower shop. That's what she said. The biggest thing is a lot of people are going to be calling today because they're like, oh, boy, Valentine's Day is Sunday. I need to get something. So she's probably real busy right now.
Oh, yeah. So let's talk about coupons for a second. What do you take? We don't take money here. What do you take? Coupons.
I did meant to say coupon. I don't know why
What's
I said
a coupon?
I have no idea. It's how it's spelled.
That's Ron White, Justin.
And then you see,
But
what
I
people
love it.
didn't see on the screen is Dakota's face, which is, you're probably, 25, 30 feet away from me in the weather center. And your face, that's what got me.
Right.
But first rule of broadcasting, power through.
That's right. Don't break the fourth wall.
Don't break it.
But, I mean, it's like,
But
I
holy
say
moly.
coupons.
Yeah.
Because,
Coupon.
I mean,
coupon.
if you're a fan
Coupon.
if you're a fan of Ron White's comedy, there's a bit talking about coupons when he went to a music festival. The guy who he talked to about getting a beer, he was supposed to say coupon.
Yeah.
But he said it as coupon. And so Ron White's like, what's a coupon? And I mean, it's a very famous bit from Ron White. It's one of my it's one of my favorites behind I got thrown out of a bar in New York City. But, it's like, my whole family says coupon. It's like, coupons.
The things we do. Good to see Cindy. Good to see Dave, Z, Bridget, Kathy, and Corey as well. Let us know what you think about these stories and more in the comments down below, or just our plain English. Sometimes that gets in the way.
All right, let's get into weather. And today is the 12th anniversary of the crash of Flight 3407 that occurred in Clarence on this day in 2009. And all of us who were around here back then, you probably remember all the media coverage on this. And this is a memorial. I'm actually going to step back off the wall very quickly so you can see this again. This is a memorial that is located near the crash site in Clarence up near Buffalo. And this memorial is going to be there forever. And of course, this was the plane that went down just a few miles from the cleared runway at the Buffalo airport. And so we will never forget that day. And of course, keep all the families in your thoughts of all the loved ones there that were, because I don't think there were any survivors in that plane crash. So that's a little bit of history for you. But man, it was cold this morning. 2 below zero is where you bottomed out in Olean today. 3 in Randolph, 6 Bemis Point, 7 Salamanca, 8 Frewsburg, 10 Lakewood, 11 in Fredonia, officially 10 at the Jamestown airport. So it was a cold morning, and we've got a little bit more of that on the way. So what's going to be happening here, at least over the next week? This is the weather pattern pretty much for the next week here. The jet stream is dipping well into the south. This is that trough. And so the storms are going to follow the jet stream. So, storms follow the flow of the jet stream. So we're going to get some snow Saturday into Sunday. Likely 1 to 3 inches out of that. Tuesday's a mystery. Then 1 week from today, we could be dealing with snow and ice issues depending on the track of another storm system. We'll keep you updated on that. 19 as a noon hour right now, southeast wind of 8, and we have a wind chill of 9. We do have a wind chill index even with the light winds, so you're going to have to keep that in mind as you walk out the door today. Nothing showing up on the radar here locally, but we do have this band of lake effect snow that's coming off Lake Ontario. This is mainly impacting basically the Lake Ontario shoreline. Should not impact us down here. That's the good news. And across the country, yeah, we've got some rain and some snow down here still across portions of the deep south with that storm system. Our system for the weekend is actually right over here. It's over near Denver. That's what we're going to be watching over the weekend. So let's time it out for you on FutureScan. Newest run of the in-house model shows you that lake effect snow off Lake Ontario. That'll just fizzle out and should not impact us. So through the day should be mainly dry. I wouldn't rule out the chance for a a isolated flurry somewhere across the region. Then as we get into tomorrow, snow showers are going to be coming our way later in the day tomorrow through Saturday night. And this is an area-wide snow. This is not going to be, the localized lake effect snow. This is going to be an area-wide snow. So everybody is going to get a little bit of something. And the snow is going to continue Saturday night through early Sunday morning. And then as we go through the day on Sunday, the snow will clear out as the storm system moves up into New England. And that'll be the end of the snow for Sunday. So what we're looking at here in terms of snowfall, this goes all the way through Sunday. Yeah, we're looking at about an average 1 to 2 inches. Some spots in the hills could get upwards of 3 inches. As often is the case, you get the most amount of snow up there in the hills. So the zone forecast, the inland areas today, this is where we're going to likely end the day today, likely mid to upper 20s today. Will likely do it across much of the area. Of course, the cooler spots in the valleys will likely stay in the upper teens all day with some sun and cloud peaks. How about the future? It's coming up for you, brought to you by 42 degrees and sunny. 23 tomorrow, 25 for Valentine's Day after the morning snow. Will be good there for the rest of the afternoon. Very cold on Monday, 16. Snow likely on Tuesday. Don't know how much yet with another storm system. 25 dry on Wednesday. Then Thursday, we could be dealing with rain, mixed precipitation, and maybe some icing issues around here. We'll keep you updated as the track of another storm system heads our way. Justin.
All right, Dakota, thank you. Well, in an effort to help animals find their forever home, we're partnering with the Chautauqua County Humane Society in our segment called The Pet of the Week. Joining us live is Amanda Sublett to talk more about this week's featured furry friend. Happy Friday, Amanda.
This guy here is my friend Edgar, and behind over here on the floor, you'll get to see, is his brother Ichabod. They're 6-month-old kittens who have been here since November. It's been quite a while. They do need to go home together. They are everything perfect you could ask for in a kitten because they're playful and they're cuddly and relaxed and quite comfortable on their shoulders. Little camera shy. Come here, turn around. These guys truly do love each other, but we're looking for a home for them that they are the only cats in, and because of that, they've struggled to find a new home.
I see. And you know, the beautiful thing, I think, with kittens is that if they find the right home, it really becomes a lifelong friendship for many families. And it seems like here in this situation where you're trying to adopt them together, is that one of the big things for the Humane Society, is to make sure they really find a good home that can support both of them at the same time?
Absolutely. Being that these guys are so bonded together, they truly do rely on each other and look for each other for whether it's safety, for comfort. And that's one of those things that you need in life, a good friend to live with. And we want them to be able to do that together.
And he almost seems more like a parrot at this point on your shoulder. I love when cats find interesting places.
It happens a lot.
Oh, really? Well, that's awesome. That's so cute. So is there an upcoming opportunity if people are able to meet these two? What would be the best way for that to happen if they were interested?
You know, you just took the words out of my mouth. We are having them here at the Chautauqua Mall on Saturday from 12 to 4, so everybody can come by and meet them there. But if they can't make it there, and assuming they don't get adopted, they can and check out these guys, their bios, their pictures, and give us a call.
Yeah, certainly. And there are so many furry friends available at the Humane Society. And you guys do such a great job with your online presence. It's chqhumane.org is the place to go to learn more about these two brothers or any other animals in the shelter. And I know the Humane Society also is doing some other events as well to try to connect with the community. What do you have coming up?
Right now, we're actually working on Pennies for Paws. You'll see some canisters around town that we're looking to just collect a little bit of donations to help these guys out. And every little bit is going to go towards their future, whether it's medical or rehoming expenses. It really does make a difference in their daily lives.
Certainly, and I think it's important for the community to know that, you know, all the funding that you do raise goes back to helping the animals, and it really does make a difference. All right. Well, again, to meet more about our friends Ichabod and Edgar or any other residents of the shelter, simply contact the Chautauqua County Humane Society. You can give them a call at 716-665-2209 or visit them online at chqhumane.org. Certainly, thank you, Amanda and Brian, for joining us today and introducing us to the duo. They certainly are adorable. Who wouldn't want kittens for Valentine's Day, right?
Exactly.
Well, I wanted a dog for my birthday, and I got a cat.
Yeah, and you know what, Dakota? I heard that was one of the best partnerships you've had.
Yeah,
your childhood cat.
I mean, it's like, I still learned to love Ginger anyway, but it's like, initially I was mad because I'm like, I wanted a dog and you gave me a cat. What's the matter with you?
Well, you can get them all at the Humane Society, so we thank them for connecting with us today. That's it for us. Of course, news 24/7 at WNYNewsNow.com. When you're on the go, stay in the know by downloading our mobile app. It's free in the Apple App Store and the Google Play Store. Programming note, Dakota and I are back Tuesday here at noon. We hope to see you then.